Hey guys, welcome to the Binge Zone. On today's explained video, we are going to be talking about the OA Season 2 because there is a lot to unpack in this second season. While the first season left us with a lot of questions, the second season begins to answer those questions. However, the more the questions are answered, the more questions arise from them. It's like the more money we get, the more problems we see. And in this season, it's even more. The world of the OA has expanded so much more. The mythology, the lore, the universes, all of it has expanded so much, and it's a lot to unpack. So bear with me. We're going to try to unpack the entirety of the second season so we can all have a better understanding of just what happened. Also, in this video, I'm going to be referring to Season 1 as Universe 1, Season 2 as Universe 2, and at the end, we're introduced to another universe, which I'm going to be calling Universe Netflix, because in that universe, the OA has traveled into the real world, our world, and has inhabited the body of Britt, the actor who plays the OA on the Netflix show. I know, real head trip, and that's what the OA Season 2 is about. It's a whole new thing, a whole new dimensions of craziness, and so much is happening that we have to break it down. And in order to do that, we have to go back to the beginning of the second season, the very first episode. And in the first episode, we find ourselves in a new dimension following a character who goes by the name of Kareem. Kareem has been tasked to search for a missing girl who goes by the name of Michelle. And if you guys recognize Michelle, that is Buck from Universe 1. Also, in this universe, we're introduced to the game called Q Symphony and the House on Nob Hill. The House on Nob Hill plays such a quintessential role in the second season because it serves as the dimensional nexus between the multiverses of the OA. In this universe, the OA transfers her consciousness, her soul, into the body of Nina, and Nina is the Universe 2's version of the OA. In this universe, Nina never got onto the school bus that crashed that caused the OA to go blind in the first season, so she never had her NDE. Therefore, the path that the OA had, Nina never went down that path. So when the OA transfers into Nina's body, she doesn't understand what's happening, so she gets committed into an insane asylum where she meets Homer, Hap, and all the other prisoners from Season 1. Once she meets them, Hap explains how they got to this universe and how he forced the other prisoners to do the movements and transfer all their consciousness to Universe 2. However, Homer is the only one whose conscious never made it to Universe 2, and now Hap is obsessed with how the OA was able to transfer herself to this universe, because Hap and the other guys did their movements and they just luckily happened up on this universe. However, the OA willed herself into this universe, and the OA got to this universe a different way than Hap, and Hap wants to know how was she able to navigate the infinites of the universe to get here. And in this universe, we're introduced to Curie, and we find out that Nina and her boyfriend Pierre Ruskin have this company where they are paying people to record their dreams, because the dreams have prophetic natures in them, and the dreams start to give them a certain message. And now in this universe, while Nina is not the OA, she is obsessed with dimensions and just what these dreams and meanings behind the veil of creation, what does that mean? Similar to how the OA is linked to dimensional studies, Nina in this universe also shares that trait while not being the OA. Back in Universe 1, BBA and the boys are still grieving over the loss of the OA, while Steve himself wants them to perform the movements again so that he may travel to the second dimension as well. However, French doesn't believe that the OA actually traversed, because if you remember back in the first season, French started doubting whether the OA was telling the truth or not. And the situation is exacerbated, and that's because Rachel's consciousness traverses from Universe 2 to Universe 1. Because in Universe 2, Rachel figures out what Hap is trying to do, and Hap ends up killing her, and her consciousness traverses back to the Universe 1. And if you guys remember in the first season, the OA told the boys to leave the front door open if they want to have higher enlightenment. And by Buck leaving his front door open, Rachel was able to navigate himself into Buck's room and sing the notes BBA, which causes the boys to go find BBA, and with BBA they travel across the country to find a psychic medium that allows them to communicate with Rachel's consciousness, her soul, and her soul gives them this message that it's only safe for BBA to travel to the second universe. And while that's happening, Kareem finally meets the OA, and he breaks her out of the insane asylum, and they go back to Nina's apartment and track down Nina's secrets, and that's when the OA meets Azrael, aka Old Night. Old Night is a psychic octopus sea creature, and we come to find out that Nina is actually a medium who communicates with Old Night. And once the Old Night touches the OA, he finds out that the OA is not Nina, and he reveals her true nature. And at the same time, Old Night gives us hints about just who Kareem really is, as well as OA's future via another near-death experience. This leads the OA and Kareem to the house on Nob Hill, and they discover two different paths and they get separated. These paths were also the same paths that the dreamers back at Curie were dreaming. They had the tunnel the size of a coffin, the two stairwells, and the rose-colored glass in this house. So those prophetic dreams are leading the OA and leading Kareem to the house on Nob Hill, which is, like I said, a nexus to the multiverse. While the OA and Kareem are finding the secrets of the house, Hap meets a woman who can dimension travel as well. And this woman can control it. She travels whenever and however she wants. And she teaches Hap how to do that as well. Once BBA and the boys get the message, they make their way to California so BBA can say goodbye to her family. But as BBA is saying goodbye to her family, Jesse ends up overdosing on pain meds, and the boys try to do the movements to bring him back to life, but it doesn't happen. While they make their escape, because now BBA is a wanted woman and there's an Amber Alert out for the children saying that BBA has actually kidnapped them, Steve doesn't go away and Steve doesn't give up hope, and he continues the movement all day. Because if you remember back in season 1, the OA told them that Homer and her did the movements all day, and they actually revived Scott from season 1. So Steve doesn't give up hope and continues the movements throughout the day. When all hope is lost, Fringe calls the FBI agent Elias from season 1, and once Elias shows up, we find out that Elias is actually a guardian of the OA, and he steers BBA and the boys to the right direction and gives them the clarity of their mission, and they must help the OA. It is at this moment that BBA discovers she has abilities to sense the other dimensions and can sense what's happening over there. The woman who teaches Hap how to travel between universes also talks to the OA and explains to the OA how she is intrinsically linked to Hap, Homer, and all the dimensions. It's that same message that the OA has gotten from the trees from the house on Nob Hill when they explain to her her abilities and what must happen, how Hap is her great evil and she needs her friends in order for her to stop Hap from doing what he's going to do, because Hap has more sinister plans for the OA and just the balance of the multiverse as a whole. So once the OA gets this message, she finally understands how dimension hopping works, and she merges her mind with Nina. She goes back and she links up with Nina, and now the OA and Nina become one being. While the OA is going on this metaphysical journey, Kareem is still looking for Michelle, and we finally meet Pierre Ruskin, who is the OA's boyfriend and also the mastermind behind Curie, and he explains to Kareem that the one constant in all the dream studies about the secret of the house is Kareem. Throughout all the dreams, everyone ends up dreaming of Kareem at the end, which gives us more clarification on his role in this season, because the old night gave us a hint at just who he might be. However, Kareem now has confirmation from Pierre Ruskin that he plays a bigger role in all of this. And once Nina and the OA become one consciousness, she goes to confront Hap, and while she is doing so, she frees Homer's mind, who's been stuck between the universes, and Homer finally realizes who he is. Now Hap shows the OA just what he's been working on in Universe 2, and Hap has killed all the versions of the OA's friend in Universe 2. Steve, Frenchie, Jesse, Scott, Hap has killed all of them in order to make a multiversal map in which Hap can decide which universe he wants to go, because Hap comes to find out the secret of the multiverse resides inside each individual. Each individual choice we make, each action we take can splinter off and create a whole new dimension, a whole universe, and it's all within our bodies. Once Hap finds that out, he kills them all and he grows these universal branches from their body and creates a map using these people. The OA has had enough of Hap, and she begins to show Hap just who she really is. Because as the trees in the earlier episodes explained to the OA, she is a metaphysical force of nature. She is the original angel. Her powers are almost boundless once she accepts just who she is, and as she is showing Hap who she really is. But after we see all of the OA's friends who are dead in the water, we come to see that BBA is not one of them, which makes Rachel's message that much more clearer. It's only safe for BBA to go because BBA is the only member of the OA's friends who isn't under Hap's control in Universe 2. While the OA is chasing down Hap, back in Universe 1, BBA and the boys find their way into the same building, the Treasure Island mental facility that Hap is currently in Dimension 2, while they are there in Dimension 1, and it's an empty place, and they see the fish tank that Homer described in his NDE from season 1, and it's the same layout as Hap's prison. So we start to see the interconnectedness between season 1 and season 2 laid out in this building, and BB-8 is following the OA in her dimension, because remember, BB-8 has the ability to see and sense the second dimension, and she's able to navigate the room as though she was there with the OA. Hap lures the OA to where he has his robots performing the movements, because he's going to transfer them to another dimension where the OA loves them, because Hap is obsessed with her and he wants her to accept him and his dreams of mapping the multiverse, and he's going to take her to a universe where she and him are together. Homer confronts Hap, and Hap ends up shooting Homer once again. While this is happening, while the robots are performing the movements, BB-8 and the boys, Steve and French and all of them, are performing the movements in Universe 1, and they're trying to draw the OA back to Universe 1, and while Hap is trying to take the OA to another dimension. At the same time, Kareem went back to the house, and now Kareem has finally found the secrets of the house, and he is at the dimensional nexus, and he sees the OA being lifted and transported, and he sees the web of the multiverse in front of his eyes, because Kareem seems to be the master of the house on Nob Hill. While this is happening, a dove flies through the house and interrupts the OA's ascension, and the OA ends up falling into a random dimension, and Hap ends up following her as well as Homer. And that's when Kareem sees Michelle in this universe, and he calls out to Michelle. And at this time, this is Universe N. This is Universe Netflix. They are on the set of the OA filming the second season. So Steve actually breaks the fourth wall. The OA breaks the fourth wall. The whole show as itself breaks the fourth wall, and now they're traversing into our metaphysical space. And while this is happening, Kareem's original mission is to get back Michelle. So he does so. And as Michelle comes through the portal, she snaps back to her body, and the window of the Nexus closes, and now the OA, Hap, Homer are stuck in our universe. However, the twist of fate of this ending is that Steve actually was transported to our universe, to Universe N. And season 2 ends the same way the first season ends, with the OA in an ambulance being driven away and Steve chasing the ambulance down. However, in this universe, Steve catches the ambulance, he gets inside, and he confronts Hap, and the second season ends. Now, there's so much to unpack in this season. So much has happened, so many details that I've glossed over, and that's because I'm saving it for another video where I explain the theories of the OA. So if you guys like this video, definitely hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, follow the channel, because I will be breaking down various theories of the second season, because there's so many different questions, so much things about the mythology that I want to know, so much different things that happen in this second season that it's too much to put in this video. So I'm going to be breaking down to other videos. So definitely guys, hit the subscribe button if you want more OA videos, hit the like button if you like this video, and until next time, binge on.